mastermind call here for our Pebblers. I know some of you are not Pebblers or yet, are interested, and I think all of you use REI conversion websites or are about to use REI conversion websites. So it's great to see all you guys in here joining us. Today we're going to be chatting with Paul. But before we get into that, we're also going to talk about neighbor letters inside of Pebble and how you can generate that quickly. So what we're trying to do here is on these calls, we'll try to do a sort of a quick deep dive into a little area of Pebble. There's just so much things going on inside of there. And then we'll sort of get into a discussion and then open up the floor for Q&A, and we'll bring you live on air if you want to also come on and ask questions if you don't want to type. So yeah, we'll sort of leave it at that. So why don't we jump right into looking into how to accomplish neighbor letters inside of Pebble.
Yeah.
Kevin, I'll let you share your screen. I always forget this system. I wish it was like Zoom. I really wish.
I know.
It was a piece of software that I purchased not too long ago, and it's just like a one-time payment, so it was nice.
Yeah, I think, do you have to give me access to...
Yeah, let me just double check here.
Okay.
Kevin. No, I mean, it says you're a moderator, but maybe I'll have to change you to a presenter. Sorry, 1 second here.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, if I...
Hey, we have a fellow Canadian here, Johnny. Johnny, we spoke last week. Go Canada!
Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can make this work here. Okay, can you see my screen here?
Yep.
Okay, great. So yeah, like Jesse said, we are going to talk about sending neighbor letters. So for those of you who might not be familiar with the concept, basically the idea is, let's say I've purchased a property. So I've just acquired a property and I'm about to start marketing it. So now what I do before I go to Facebook or land.com and start making ads for this thing is I will actually mail a letter to all of the neighbors that are around this property, because it's highly likely that somebody who lives around there is going to be interested if they see that I'm selling this for significantly below market value, which hopefully we all are. So you want to send a neighbor letter to all these people. I'm typically sending to like maybe 10 to 20-ish people, just like the kind of half mile around the property. I'll just send that neighbor letter to them, and then hopefully someone gets back to me before I'm too deep into advertising it, and then I can sort of save that whole marketing hassle and just quickly sell it to somebody who lives next door. Okay, so the question is, how do we do this inside of Pebble? This is something that we get asked a lot, and something that we've really worked hard to make very easy for Pebble. So I've got this property here, and we've got...
Before we move forward, I want to see in the comments, do you guys do neighbor letters? If you do, just say yes or neighbor. It'd be interesting to see who is actually sort of going the neighbor letter route as well. Sorry, Kevin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious as well. So once you've got your property acquired, typically what I'll do is I'll go to, I use DataTree. So here's an example of a property that I have. And then if I wanted to send my neighbor letters to, let's say, just all these bordering people, it's very easy to do that. In fact, DataTree lets you see the address of the owner without having to even export stuff. So I can just go in here and copy down all of these addresses and these names and just mail those letters right there. And then the other thing that is kind of nice within DataTree, if you want to kind of make this more automated, is you can actually do this polygon search tool. So if you click this edit, click polygon, and then you can just like circle a bunch of properties. So I don't know, let's just do like these. So we'll just say, I want to send a neighbor letter to all those people. So you click apply, and then this is a little bit, it took me a while to like figure all this out. But if you go to advanced search, and then it's going to say, see this polygon shape tool is now part of your search. Then I'm going to remove the search. I had it searching for the APN. I'm going to remove that. And then, yeah, so it gave me 21 results. So those are the 21 properties that I had in my polygon. And then I can export this like a normal list, and it'll give me the spreadsheet that you'd normally see with all of the property details, including all of the addresses of the owners there. So once you've got your list of people to send to, then it's just a matter of going back into Pebble here. And before I actually send this, I'll just open up our templates folder. Basically, everyone who signs up with Pebble will get a default neighbor letter. So let's just take a look at what that looks like. So neighbor letter looks like this. And it basically just says or the size of your property, and then some market values that you're going to set, and then just asks you to just basically tells them to contact you if they're interested in purchasing your property. And you can go and tweak this all you want. I put my logo up here, maybe add some add some more details about my business and why I'm sending them this letter. And then once you're happy with the way that letter looks, then it's just a matter of going to your property screen, and down here in documents, you can click add document, click neighbor letter, and then it's going to ask you to fill out some things to generate this neighbor letter. By default, it's going to pull up the information that that was a part of this property, and then it's going to ask you for some assessed values. I'm just going to say, I think this thing is assessed at $20,000, but I'm going to sell it for $15,000. Let's just say that. Obviously, you can make these whatever you want. And then it's going to ask you to grab some images. I've found that sending my neighbor letters, if I show them a map of where this property is, that can really help them kind of identify what property I'm talking about. So we'll just throw this little plat map here, and then we'll just give them a kind of view from the property. So 2 images there. You can preview that if you want to. That'll just show you what it'll look like. But we'll just click save. And there we go. We've got our document. So that just filled out all the information about the property, including the assessed value and what I'm going to sell it for. And then it also is going to show me the plat map here. So that's generating the PDF, and I can download this and do what I want with it. But Pebble makes it really easy to just mail this to a bunch of people. So I can click add mailing here. And then basically that list that I got, I can type in their addresses, city, state, zip, and click send, and that will shoot that letter off to that neighbor. So basically I just do that 10 times for my 10 different neighbors, and then all those letters will go out. Now you might be asking, Kevin, it'd be great if I could import a list, that list that I downloaded from DataTree. It would be great if I could just import that list and send my 20 letters without having to kind of go through all this. And you would be right. So we are going to do that. It's not quite ready yet, but we are going to add another option here to import a mailing list. And you can just quickly go dump your list in there, click send, and your 20 neighbor letters go out. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if you've got a VA, they can just sort of go add mailing, type in the 10 addresses, and you'll be done that way. So
we've had quite a few messages about that before, so I just laughed at Kevin interrupting himself so quickly with that one. Yeah, so I thought that would be also a question some of you guys might be asking. So if you do have a list of neighbors that you guys wanted to blast out, it is something we know about, and we're going to be adding to this functionality here. So you'll be able to just send out a bunch all at once.
Yep.
Um, all right. Thanks for diving into that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We'll sort of leave the questions up until the end. So the next part of things, let's bring Paul here on and sort of pick Paul's brain here as to what he's doing and what he's up to. And Paul is our user of ours. Hold on. How do we get back into the center here? Are you guys on the center right now, or how does it look like for you guys?
No, it's a white screen for me.
All right. Let's see. 1 second. Let's see here. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
We're back now. Awesome. Paul, let's just jump right into this. Paul, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into land investing?
Yeah, so I got into land investing around, I heard my first podcast about it beginning of 2019, end of 2018. By trade, I'm a firefighter. I work in the Bay Area and drive up to the Sacramento area, so I have a long drive in the morning. It's just once a week, we work 48-hour shifts, but I queue up a ton of podcasts to keep myself awake and entertained on the way in. And I queued up a bunch of podcasts, and 3 in a row were about land investing, all the same guy. So I should probably start looking into this. Looked into it for a little while, got some material, tried to wing it by myself, and did all of that much. So, I'm like, okay, fine, forget this. So I paid for a little bit of coaching and some guidance, and I've just hit my 1-year anniversary.
Nice.
And things have been going along pretty well so far. So that's basically my background in land investing. So
Awesome.
I haven't been doing it for very long, but I absolutely enjoy it and wish I had found it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, during this 1 year that you've been land investing, and it's great to hear from people who are also, just a year in and hearing the success that they're having as well. I think a lot of times, a lot of people bring on guests who are super experienced, but you're still somewhat fresh in this. So, and it sort of brings me to the question, like, was there sort of something that, that you did not expect when you got started, when you got into land investing, that sort of came up and it's still being your first year. And a lot of people that are joining on this call are still within their first year.
Right. Depending on who you're listening to and everything, it can be made to sound like it only takes 10 hours a week to get a business going. And that is 100% true. You can completely start a business in 5 years at 10 hours a week. But I'll admit, for the last 6-8 months, I've been putting in every spare minute I have doing something for the business. Now, unfortunately, I chase white rabbits all over the place. So, I like to build websites. I like Airtable. I like all the automation stuff like that. And, before you know it, 2 days have gone by and you really haven't done anything to move your business along, even though you've had a great time.
Yeah.
That is
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, exactly. That's my biggest thing. Luckily, I didn't have any training in, what you guys do, like building websites. I'd be so far down another hole. It's not even But, so that's been my biggest thing, is getting focused and realizing that it takes 30 hours a week. If you want to scale something into a legitimate business, it's going to take you 30 hours a week, on top of it, nights, weekends, when you could be sitting down reading a book or watching TV, you're, doing market research, right? Trying to figure out that county where you should mail, pricing, or trying to get your website up and running so that you can train your VA then to take that over and do it without screwing things up. So my big thing for anybody new, it's going to take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears the first couple years, but give it 2 to 4 years of that. And by the time you hit that 2, 3, 4, 5 year mark, you're spending 2 or 3 hours a week, just managing VAs and things. I am finding that I'm doing a lot more managing VAs than the other stuff now, which is nice, and which is giving me a little more free time to chase those white rabbits and those shiny things. So, but still, that was kind of one of the things that kind of hit me. It does take a lot. My wife was not ready for that. So that's the other thing. If you have a significant other, make sure they're on board too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that we were talking about prior to this through email, we were, I had said, is there anything that you're doing in particular? And you mentioned to us that you're literally just following the recipe. So what is your current recipe right now in terms of, and what are your goals with the kind of properties that you're picking up too?
Yeah. So like I was telling Jesse earlier, there are about 6 major players when it comes to education in the land business, right? Depending on who you want to follow, you can buy their course or sign up for their program, and they all have some sort of a recipe. Every single one of them has stuff in common and stuff different. What I always tell people to do is try a few of them, figure out which community you resonate with, and then pick that community, pick their model, pick their brains, and make a business out of it. Now, the cool thing about it is once you've got the recipe or, the playbook, so to speak, start paying attention to what other people are doing and then take the parts you like and build your business. Because it's the land business, just because someone trains you one way, like I'm in coaching, one-on-one coaching right now, and my coach, sets a path of one way to go. But you know what? Some things just don't work for me, my personality, my style, the way I want to run my business. So I tweak it, which is a super cool thing about this business. There is no everybody has to do it the same. So me personally, my recipe is 600 to 1,000 mailings a week, depending on how swamped I want myself and my intake manager to be. Get those properties in, get them through due diligence title within 1 week, get them bought, get them on the list, and then market them. And marketing for me is I absolutely loathe Craigslist, so I ignore it until Facebook kicks me off, and then I'll start Craigslist. But Facebook's doing amazing for me. So I do everything on Facebook. I post 10 to 15 ads a week. I market 1 to 3 properties until they're sold, and then I pick another 1 to 3 and sell them. I don't do neighbor letters. I've tried a couple of the paid sites and have had very little success. Haven't really sold anything off of them. Get some leads, but haven't sold anything off of them. So that's kind of on my. I got to figure that out too, because you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. Facebook's been great, but they're tweaking algorithms and stuff now, so it's getting a little weird. But that's mine. So that's how I run it. That's how I run everything through, and I just keep rinse and repeat. And then again, you got to pick. Are you a cash? Are you a wholesale guy? Or you want notes? So you kind of got to pick what you want, and then just design your business for it, and realize that you're not going to scale overnight. It's a business. No great company started yesterday. Went from yesterday to today, and all of a sudden a great company. It takes time. So give yourself that time. Don't get frustrated.
That's a great point, Paul. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
One of the things that you also mentioned here to me was that you get on the phone. I know a lot of people hate getting on the phone. What do you have to say to that? I'm also the type that I like getting on the phone, but man, sometimes it's hard to cut people off too.
Right. So I learned in the first 5 minutes of land investing that I absolutely hate to talk to people when they want to sell me their land. The stories are great. They're cool. You do learn some stuff. Yeah, I'll give you that, but I don't have time for that when I'm trying to get through 20 properties in a day. So I found that hiring a good intake manager who literally does all of that calling and the pre-due diligence was the best hire. And I pay that guy $25 an hour, and he's worth $50 an hour. So it's one of those positions that once you can afford a VA, go there. Because if you train that VA correctly, they can actually do most of your due diligence for you just by talking to the actual people on the phone. Now, on the sales side, I still don't like to talk on the phone a whole lot. However, I've been doing it long enough now that I actually kind of enjoy it. And because I only work in one county and I absolutely love the land I sell there, I live in the exact same kind of land. I can identify with the people. I think your enthusiasm over what you're selling comes out on the phone, and people are like, oh, okay, well, this guy really, okay, well, maybe he's, he actually likes what he's selling. It's not that's that monotone. Yep, I've got 5 acres in this county. You're actually excited about selling something. So that I find helps. And that took me, I only started doing that 2 or 3 months ago because I tried to do everything over Facebook Messenger, which was great. I was selling, but I sold 8 in a week by getting on the phone. So, I mean, it's like, get on the phone. I know everything can be done with all this fancy software and everything like that, but at some point that human element, that touch. And the other thing I found too is don't be afraid to send a Loom video to someone. It's like, hey, look at me. Hi, here I am standing in front of my fire engine, or here's on my property.
People love that.
They eat it up. Yeah. So
And for those of you, actually, you know what? I was going to do a Facebook Live on this really quickly here.
Oh, well.
For those of you that need Loom, I know Loom now has started putting like limitations on everything now. So Loom is, for you guys don't know, it's easy to generate videos on your desktop, or if you want to show your parcel on your screen and record it while you're talking, or if you want to record it on your phone, and it'll generate a link for you to share. The free plan is now a lot shorter. I think it's like 5 minutes, and the what do you call it? The limitations on how many videos you can have is very limited now. On AppSumo, they've got something called Berrycast. It's pay once, and I think it's like it's pretty awesome. Check it out, appsumo.com. There's unlimited video storage there, so it's very similar to Loom. I use Dub. So just a little quick pointer for you guys. If you're looking to pick up some sort of screen sharing recorder, huge. You mentioned, getting on your phone and, all about this tech stuff, and, you have that human touch. But one other thing that you like doing is actually running your entire business off your phone, right?
Yeah. So this year's been a crazy year for fires. So I actually spent, in California anyway, so I spent a month assigned to a fire. Didn't really have a whole lot of computer access. So I started kind of figuring out, well, okay, let's see how I can do this from my phone. Okay. I want to eventually travel and be able to just take a, world capable phone with me and see what I can do. So got back from that assignment after tweaking a few things. We ended up going on vacation for about a week down to Monterey, and I did everything from my iPhone. So
Nice.
For those who haven't jumped on board with Pebble, there's a number of software programs that do almost identically the same thing as Pebble. However, Pebble, where it has a leg up on everybody else, is it's extremely mobile friendly. So I did everything short of having to go in and get a deed printed out at the UPS store so I could get it notarized off my phone for a week. And then I said, this is kind of fun. So I carried it on. So I did 2 weeks, 8 property sales, all from my phone, and didn't even really have to open my computer up. So
awesome.
Once you get all your documents into Pebble, you generate it, you download it to Drive, and then share it over to your email it to the link for the UPS store. They print out whatever you need, and you're done. So now, don't get me wrong, scrubbing a list is not something that you want to do on your phone. You want a computer, but luckily
somebody should try that.
Yeah, with the drip feature here, I mean, you just set your thing. Like I do about 2,500 names at a time. Set it to drip about 35 a day. And then I just don't look back for 2 months. And then over 2 months, I figure out the next area I mail and do the exact same thing. So
Nice.
It's amazing. That's the nice thing about Pebble is if you want to go on a month trip to wherever, I want to go visit Kevin over there in Korea, I can do it from my phone. I don't even have to bring a computer. Yeah.
You have to go to quarantine for 2 weeks, but
Yeah,
we'll get another 2 weeks a good time.
Yeah, that's why it's a month trip. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Before I open up the floor here for questions here, I actually have not personal, but I have a question from what you talked about here, your intake manager. How did you find your intake manager? What should somebody expect to, leave with their intake manager?
So
I don't know much.
Okay, so my intake manager, I found him he's one of the co-owners or owner of Parcelreview.com. So for those of you who know, that's one of the companies that does due diligence packages. He was recommended to me by a buddy who's doing land investing, and I luckily got in before all of his spots filled up. Now, him and his company are training more intake managers, so you can get on the waiting list if you're looking for one over at Parcelreview.com, and they'll get you hooked up. He's doing the training, so he's killer for me, so I can only imagine that the people that he is training do the same thing. So basically what my intake manager does is all of my leads come in either by text, by email, phone call, however they come in. I send him the voicemails. I send him the scanned returned letters. The mail that comes into my my PO box, I send those over to him. And once they go into my Airtable, I hit a status in there. And as soon as it hits that status, they go to him. And from there, he has a checklist. He has a one-page document that he gets on the phone, calls, asks them, hey, are you the legal owner? You just know, has anybody died that's still on the deed? Is this a probate thing? He asks them to get him a copy of the current deed so that we can verify a legal description. He just walks it all the way down until he gets to a certain spot, and then he just sends me we use Voxer back and forth. He sends me a Vox to say, hey, I've got these 3 properties. Go take a quick look at them. Let me know if you want to purchase them. I go in, I do my checklist, making sure that all my checks are met so that I want to purchase it. I take a look at the map and a few other things. And then once I say yes, he draws up the deed. He schedules either direct closing, which is he sends them a copy of the deed, they go get it notarized, they send it back to me, and then I pay them, or whether we need to find a mobile notary because I don't trust that, or if we need to do something through escrow or something like that. So he takes care of all of that. So literally, I don't have to do much other than just verify yes or no on the property until it gets time to record the deed and send out the check. That's where I take in. At that point, we just switched over. He puts everything in Pebble for me now. So it all lines up in Pebble, and then it's ready to list to the website. And then eventually once it sells, it's ready to be pushed to the sales contract. And I just send out a sales contract right from Pebble. So that's what my intake manager does. So he does almost all of the due diligence, even though I still send it through due diligence and title. It's just something I have built into my whole thing. So I want to be absolutely sure. I got burned early on with a probate issue that I misunderstood, and I'm still unwinding that. So I do like double and triple checks on all mine, because I'm not trying to scale huge. I've got 10 years left in my career before I can actually legitimately retire. So I'm on the slow build. So I just want to make sure I got all my processes done, and he is amazing at it. So
awesome.
Yeah, he's like my right hand man.
Callan is asking, is he in the U.S. or overseas?
I highly recommend your intake manager be U.S. based. He is. He's out of Texas. So he's right in the middle of the state, so you can split the time differences both ways, which makes it even better. So, but you want someone who English is the first language, and they're in the States, and you'd like them to have some kind of real estate experience. So, like I said, he started that company. They were, for those of you who know the Land Geeks, he was one of the original VAs that they trained. So he's been doing it for, 5 or 6 years now. So he's been doing it for a while. So he's training some pretty good people from right here over there.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Cool. That's great. I am definitely checking them out.
Yeah, totally worth it. Yeah, it's about, I think, to get my title and due diligence, it's an extra $50 per property, but it's just something I build into on the backside. Part of my doc fee, that's what covers it, just to make sure that I'm 100% covered on all the legal stuff. So.
Yep. Awesome.
Well, let's just sort of open up the floor here for people who have questions, whether it's for Paul or for us, whether it's about the websites or Pebble, what we're working on. Let's open that up. So I can either bring people on or just read it out. If you want to come on, I think you can request to come on. I'm not even sure, but let's just start with this. Callan asks, so we just answered that. He's US based. How do you track his working hours? Ina asks.
Yeah, so they submit a very detailed Excel spreadsheet, and I can just go down. And for the first 3 or 4 months, I looked at everything, and then I gave up because he was spot on. So, you buy them in blocks of time. So however much time you want, I think I buy like $200 blocks of time that gives me X amount of hours. And then it's literally broken down to 5-minute chunks.
So is that 200 hours for?
No, it's $200. So what is it? $25 an hour. So I buy it like 10-hour blocks. So what? $225, I guess.
And do you have to use up those blocks before a certain
There
time?
is. So if you're only doing a few properties a month, it might not necessarily be feasible. But he uses up. That's about how much he uses in a month. So that's about what I'm paying. About $225 a month is what I pay him.
I'm assuming you could probably team up with somebody and buy some block of hours.
Totally, and those blocks last like 2 months. I want to say is 60 days or something like that. And they're pretty good. I mean, early on when I was starting with them, we got down to the end of the 2 months, and I had to use it all. I said, hey, you might want to try and bring some more properties in. I'm like, yeah, okay, let me open my mailings here really quick. So they're pretty good about it. I mean, they're not gonna. Maybe I should go from 500 to 1,000. Okay, fine. There we go.
Yeah, right on. Cool. Jaron asked what the URL is again. Awesome. There's a parcelreview.com. Thanks for sharing that again, Paul. Lance says, stay safe at your gig, Paul.
Thanks, guys.
Probably year after year, more and more fires you're going to have to start battling.
There's not a whole lot more land left to burn in California, so we should be good, hopefully.
Oh, my goodness. Brutal. All right. Any other questions here? I know it's sort of, you guys sometimes take time. I wish there was a raise hand. I can sort of bring you guys on here. It looks like a couple of you guys are typing, so I'll give you guys a second to type out your questions.
Mm-hmm. Is fire season pretty much done at this point, Paul?
So in the last couple of years, we've entered into there is no such thing as fire season now. It's always fire season. So last year we had a fire that they finally got it out on Christmas Eve. So we're kind of expecting it this year as well. So we'll see. It just depends when and how much rain, but it doesn't look like we're going to get a ton in California.
Mm-hmm.
Cal and Paul, what CRM did you decide on if you've decided?
That's a good one. Okay, so there's two different ways to look at a CRM. You got to look at a CRM as something that manages your leads, i.e. emails, contacting, stuff like that. And then there's a CRM as it pertains to managing your inventory and your property. So I kind of use a mix of three here. I use Pebble, obviously, but I got everything started with Airtable. And literally, Airtable can do everything except for mailing that a lot of other systems can do. So I use Airtable for my overall tracking of my inventory, and it helps me make sure I collect all the data points needed for doing taxes, all of the financial stuff, getting it all to my bookkeeper. And the other nice thing about Airtable as a quote-unquote CRM is that you can set up specific views that you can share with specific VAs. So that information for a property only goes to them. And when it hits them with some automation that's built in, they know they need to go to work. And the other nice thing is you can create a lot of forms. So like I have a customer information form. So every time I sell a property, I say, congratulations on the purchase of your property. We received your down payment and doc fee. Please fill out the information at this link. And I capture all of the information I need for the sales contract. And then I can easily put it right in Pebble and then boom, shoot out my contract to them. So that now CRM to manage my actual contacts, I use Follow Up Boss. It's what a lot of people in the land space are starting to migrate to. You can record your phone calls. It has all of your text, email, all that history all in one. So I'm hoping that I just saw the link you guys put to the how to connect Pebble with Follow Up Boss deal. So I need to dive into that, another rabbit hole for me to chase and get that all linked up. So those are the three main software systems that I use to kind of run everything. Obviously with Google Drive and DocuSign is the other two that kind of get used a lot. So
awesome. Sharonda asks, putting properties for sale on my site, then I realized I haven't had a payment processor. Oops. So is Heartland still the best one still? I sigh at this one a lot.
You want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had a good time with Heartland, to be honest. I know a lot of people that are using GeekPay. I know a lot of people that are, myself, like using Moonclerk. I think some people are using CozyCo. You'll find a lot of the payment processors actually on RE Tipster. Mm-hmm. They have that there on their resource. Kevin, Paul, what do you guys sort of suggest?
So I take my down payments and doc fees just using Stripe. I know there's some gray area with Stripe and real estate, but from what I've understood, if you're just taking the doc fee, they're okay with that. It's just when you start doing terms, monthly payments, that's where they start flagging you. So fingers crossed that sticks the way it is. But yeah, on my website, I take credit card with Stripe, get the doc fee, and then I use GeekPay if they're going to do terms. So
same. I've also heard that authorized.net can work as well. I haven't. It's kind of a backup in case Stripe shuts me down, but I'm the same as Kevin. And I have probably 3 or 4 people who pay monthly by credit card. And a lot of people log on and do like extra payments and stuff like that. So I got my fingers crossed on that.
Hey, there's Dominic.
There's Dominic. He's the trash is getting picked up today, so it's a big day. He gets to see the truck come and pick the trash up.
So Sharonda, if you want to talk more about payment processors, shoot us an email. But there's so many out there. Adero asks, and welcome Adero. I must have missed it, Paul. Are you wholesaling your properties or buying them with your own cash?
Oh, that's a whole nother can of worms. All right. So the other thing you're going to learn really, really quickly in the land investing business is that money is, and funding is going to be one of the first things you're going to run into. You're going to need to figure out a way to fund your land, because if you're going for the style of collecting notes to make passive income, to keep those, for years to come, that return on investment, depending on how much your property is, can be anywhere from 6 months to 2 years before you've got your initial investment out. So you're going to figure out that you're going to need to figure out funding sooner rather than later. So as of right now, I've been able to wholesale and get enough cash sales to kind of offset for the term sales that I'm getting, and it's been okay right now. However, I just started doing the infinite banking concept through whole life insurance and being able to pull money out and then use that for the business and then pay that back. So right now I'm acting as my own bank to fund some. However, I do realize that very shortly I'm going to need to find investors to actually invest in this whole venture. And I've been putting it off as long as I possibly can, but that's where you are. Once you start getting past a certain level, you just have to bite the bullet. You're going to have to look for a 70-30 split or whatever you can and get an investor involved so that you can actually move forward. Right now, I'm okay with where I am. I don't need to scale any faster, so I'm still kind of putting off the investor thing. But if I want to go much farther above where I am, that's the next thing you have to look at getting in. So start looking at it now so it's not so scary later, which is kind of where I'm at. It's like, oh, man, somebody else's money. What happens if?
Right.
But you know what? There's not a lot of bad things that can happen with the land as long as you're paying attention to how you're buying it.
So, Sean, thanks for. So Sean says, Sharonda, I just got this done last month. Can provide some recent lessons. So I know Sean has been working with Heartland. Sean, I think we're going sort of back and forth about that as well. Jaron, does GeekPay process through Stripe?
Yeah,
it can.
It uses Stripe and Authorize.net for credit card stuff, and then it uses ACH for your term stuff.
Awesome. Darrow, awesome. Sean says 0% interest credit cards. Sounds good. We'll be in touch. Awesome. Any other questions you guys can throw at us? And feel free, if you have, like I said, if you guys have questions about Pebble or what we're working on, or even any technical issues or questions, feel free to throw it our way. And if anybody wants to come on air, just say, hey, I'd like to come on camera and ask a question. We'd be glad to have you on.
Yeah, we'd all love to have a winning lotto ticket, wouldn't we?
Yeah, there we go. Cool. Well, Paul, we appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us. I think we got a lot of value out of hearing your process and your suggestions there. So we really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, anytime. If you guys have more questions, you know where to find me. I'm in all the groups here. So
we got a couple of questions here. You said you are working only one county. Is that right?
Yeah, so when I got started, I was doing the whole, I'm going to mail here, mail there, mail this county, that county, and again, I bought all of 0 properties. So I did buy some wholesale in some of the more popular counties to try and test them out, but I landed in one single county, and for the last 8 months, I've been in one county, and I've done over 40 deals in the one county. So I also highly recommend when you are getting into land investing, pick one place where there's a bunch of other land investors and you know there are deals being done just till you get your processes started. You know how everything is. Plus, it always gives you a place where you can come back, send a couple thousand mailers, know you're going to get some deals, know you're going to get some cash, know you're going to get some more terms that you're super familiar with. Then and only then, I say give it a year doing that. Then start branching out and pick one more county and make it another county. A lot of strategy people do is they do, one county is my wholesale county, so I can wholesale some land to keep funding the deals in my, my actual terms county where I continue to build my notes. That's a great strategy. Mine down the road is to have 2 counties I wholesale in and 1 county where I continually do all of my notes. And that's how I plan to kind of slowly scale things over the year. Once I did that and focused on just one county, things just took off because I was trying to do too many things at one time. And remember, it cuts down on your advertising too. Instead of having to advertise in 3 or 4 or 8 or 10 cities, now you advertise in 5. and you're going to get your sales from those 5 cities, no problem, plus your mailing list. So it's kind of a newbie thing. That's where I again, that's why I spent 6 months and didn't buy or sell anything, is because I was all over the place.
Gotcha.
Great point. Yeah.
Bryce asks, what are the best way to find investors?
All right, simple. Go to Facebook, go to Zillow, go to Craigslist, go to Landmodo, go to Lands of America, go to any site you can, and then look for something that's got 10 plus pages of listings. If they've got 10 plus pages of listings, people are buying and selling land there. There's other land investors there. Go there, start there. The county I'm in's got 70,000 available parcels. There's no way that anybody's going to be able to mail them all or get all the deals in there. There's other counties that have hundreds of thousands of acres available for sale. Find someplace where everybody else is. There's so much land, and there's not near enough money or land investors to gobble it all up. So, and if you spend enough time in any of the Facebook communities, you'll learn really quick that there's 6 states people play in, and there's a dozen counties people play in. And they've been doing it for years, and they're still buying and selling land. I know a guy who's been doing it for 50 years in the exact same county I am, and he has been he continually buys and sells land. 50 years. He's bought multiple pieces of land from people he sold it to multiple times. Like they get done with it after 10 years and sell it back to them. So, this is a very underserved niche, buying and selling land. So,
Bryce actually wants to clarify. Sorry, finding investors to help with your funding.
Again, find the Facebook group. Look, I need funding. That's what I did, and I had like 10 people reach out to me, like, "Oh, that's too many."
Yeah.
So you'll find it. I do recommend that you look at something like a 70-30 split or a 60-40 split. There's a lot of work you do on the front end to give a 50-50, maybe a larger deal, but the deals I'm doing aren't huge. So I do a lot of work and stuff like that. So basically a 70-30 split, they get 30% of the profits plus their initial investment back. Okay. And then you get 70% of the profits. So that's what I suggest you try and look for. Those guys are a little bit harder to find, but when you do find them, they're usually land investors themselves, and they know it works. They're going to want to see a track record. They're going to want to see that you've bought and sold some land. They kind of want to see how you run your business, and usually they want to see the property before you buy it. So you get everything together, do your due diligence, send it to them, and they go, "All right, here you go, and here's a check."
Cool. Awesome. Ina asks here, how about investors in overpopulated counties? I heard it might be hard to sell. So that's right. If you're focusing on that one county, and you suggest that there's a lot of activity, what do you have to say to those who are worried about, competition, essentially?
The county I'm working in is probably one of the top 3 busiest counties in all of the United States.
Well, there you go.
I buy and sell land on a daily basis there almost, and people are willing to fund there because they know it will eventually sell. Yeah. I've talked to a lot of land investors who've been doing this 20 plus years, and to this day, I have never talked to a land investor who's been stuck with a piece of property.
There you go.
I know people who broke even. They bought it for $500 and sold it for $500. Okay, it's a wash. But no one's ever been stuck with them, and very few people have lost money on the deal, which is why it's super important to have a good acquisitions or intake side built up first. Because if you buy it right, at 25 cents on the dollar, 30 cents on the dollar, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
You sell it for 40 cents on the dollar, make a couple bucks.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, Lance asks here, are you accessing Pebble on your mobile browser? Any chance for a freestanding app or /native app?
Browser works great.
That is, we work hard to make the browser experience as good as possible. But having a freestanding app, we understand, is something that you would like, and we're talking about ways that we can do that.
Browser is super easy. I mean, it's one of the nicer apps that work on our browser. I haven't, like I said, 2 weeks without an issue. So
yeah. I mean, if you want, what you could do is bookmark the specific pages. So whether it's your seller leads or your buyer leads inbox or your campaigns that you want to, wherever you live out the most of, you can just save those as icons on your desktop and access it immediately.
Yep. Pebble. Save the bookmark. There you go. Simple as that.
Awesome. Jaron says,
you're on an iPhone, right, Paul?
I am on an iPhone, yeah. I actually haven't used it on an Android phone.
I use it on I'm on an
There you
Android.
go. Perfect. Yeah, it should be fine. The only thing that is a little weird with the iPhones is where you store files to upload.
Oh,
So
yes.
you got to do it actually
Yeah.
on the iPhone.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't like to do it from something else. I found actually downloading it off of your drive or wherever you have it, putting it on your iPhone storage, and then uploading it tends to work okay. That's how I've been getting around that. But yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Jaron says, RE Tipster Forum. It's a great forum. So if you want to find other investors there, it's
a lot of people there.
retipster.com/forum. Johnny asks here, other than a lot of activity within a county, what are other criteria you are looking for when researching county?
You can look at days on market. You can go to Zillow for your county and figure out how many lots are available, how long they've been listed, how many views they have, how many clicks, time they've been listed. Usually when I do market research for a county, I sit down with Zillow, I sit down with Landmodo, and then like Land Farm or Land Flip or one of those. And I spend a week when I get ready to actually build a comps list. I don't stop till I have over 100 comps. And once I have 100 comps for all the different areas within a county, I feel confident in pricing my matter. It's the other thing too. I actually send a price on my letter because I do not like to get letters like, oh, I'll sell it for $20,000. No, I won't pay more than $2,000 for it. So this is ridiculous. So I give them a number. It kind of also that whole thing of cementing or anchoring, it anchors a number in their mind. So even if they do want more, if I can keep them at 10 or 15% more than I offer, okay, I'll still entertain that because I'm offering 25 to 35 cents on the dollar. But yeah, I build that comps list off of those main websites, and I do every APN cluster in the county. So because counties, they're all broken up into APN clusters typically, and I do it per cluster. And again, the intake side is critical too, because my intake manager, he actually pulls up the GIS really quick and takes a look at things. Because he likes to know, okay, is there drainage? Are there huge power lines that go through? What attributes are there of that piece of land that either one, this is a great land we need to buy and we'll pay a little bit more for it, or two, he can negotiate down. Because the other thing is, I give him 10% of whatever he saves me. So if I offer $2,000 and he gets it for $1,500, he gets 10% of that $500 that he saved me. So that he's like I said, he's great. He's very incentivized to knock it out of the park with our acquisition side.
Awesome.
Gotcha.
Great to know. Okay.
I'm sort of browsing through here. Thanks for the hat compliment, John. Thank you. What else do we have here? Browser works. Sharonda says she has no issues using the browser, using Chrome. Sorry, with the browser using Chrome. I think that's pretty much it here in terms of question. You guys can, for all you Pebblers here, we're going to wrap up here, but we recently have launched our community inside of there just for our users. So Paul is inside of there. We've got some other sort of rock stars in there, including Callan, who is sort of a CRM. She comes from a CRM background and works on systems. And then we also got Travis King, who isn't really on the Facebook side of things. Not a lot of people do know him, but he is a very, very active land investor. And those two have sort of voluntarily said, hey, listen, I'm open to answering any questions. So please, if you're inside of Pebble, join us inside of our community. It'd be great to have all you guys in there. And Paul's also inside of there as well. So Paul's another really good resource if you want to ask him any questions, and we try to keep everything open discussion inside of there. So it's another great area. If you guys have any question, please join inside of our community. If you haven't gotten access into our community, which you should have been sent an invite, just shoot me an email, hello@pebblerei.com. Paul, thanks again very much for coming on here and sort of blitzing through your entire business and what you learned in the past year. You've obviously accomplished a lot in this 1-year anniversary, and congratulations to you on that. And we hope to continue to hear more stuff from you. And thank you for all of you guys. I know I've been bugging a lot of you guys. Hey, are you going to come out? Are you going to come out? I know a lot of you guys don't even need to be here, and I really appreciate your you guys just even coming out to support. And it's always nice to see the community come together. Kevin, any sort of last shares on your end?
No, I think great information today, and we'll try to keep them coming.
Yeah. This will be available on inside of Pebble. If you hit that little icon on the bottom right, there's going to be most recent updates, so you can rewatch this anytime inside of Pebble. And both Kevin and I will also be around, and we're going to be working on some stuff. And if you guys missed the last update roundup, you'll be able to check that out inside of there as well. Anyways, thanks again very much to all you guys for coming out. And yeah, we'll see you guys next month.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers,
Bye.
guys. Awesome. And stop.